Ooh, but Gukesh didn't move the rook into the middle. This is interesting.
Oh, and we do have the rook to e8 from Gukesh.
My initial reaction was that this was pretty shocking.
I think Gukesh to some extent was expecting this move because he responded pretty quickly.
Oh, and Ding is trying to stop that exact move.
Look at that, h4. He's stopping your plan, Hammer. It is a draw in Singapore.
I can't even begin to tell you how excited and curious I am to hear Magnus Carlsen and Levy Rosman's verdict on Game 6 in the World Chess Championship match. Welcome to the Take post-game show, and welcome to pundit number 1, Magnus Carlsen. Magnus, yesterday you said you got a punch to win. Did you see some good punches in Game 6?
Well, I don't think anybody really landed any punches, but I think they were certainly both trying. It was a very interesting game, and you have one of those rare positions that is both almost symmetrical, but it's also extremely unbalanced. So even though the position was like relatively equal, it was very much unbalanced, and both players, I think, justifiably felt that they could press for a win. So I think we got ourselves a really interesting game.
Cool. Okay. Well, then I look forward to digging into it. But first, Levy Rosman, who's been devoting his life to not only playing chess, watching chess, and speaking about chess. So what can we expect from you today, Levy? What's your initial verdict on Game 6?
You can expect me to speak some more about chess. My initial verdict, well, I suppose it's not really initial. Yeah, I think the game finished about 6 hours ago at this point. So my initial verdict was I felt a little bad for Gukesh, who kind of desperately wanted to play a game and was actually going against my wishes yesterday, which you asked me if I was his boxing trainer, what would I tell him? And I said, I would tell him, don't get into a fight just because your opponent is kind of refusing one. I mean, today he did exactly that. And he got to a position that Hikaru himself said, if Magnus was white, he would have defeated every player in the world from this position with the white pieces. So, that's high praise to my co-pundit, but ultimately Gukesh was robbed of his desires and the game was a draw. So that's what I will say.
Yep, it was a draw. They are still tied, Ding and Gukesh, in the World Championship match. Let's jump into Game 6. In the Take app, the recap headline is Opening Dynamite That Never Detonated. It was the London system, a system popularized by you, Magnus. So we jump into the opening. What's your take on this, Magnus?
Oh, it was interesting to see what Gukesh went for with the setup with e6 and bishop d6 was kind of the main line a few years ago, but now it's been overtaken by other sort of more forcing lines. What's interesting is that maybe the most high-profile game that was played with this line with bishop b5 check was my own against Ding in Tata Steel in 2023, which ended up in the draw, actually. So it was interesting to see Ding try that one himself. Obviously, what he went for with the queen move later to a3 was the critical one, and I'd seen that all of this forcing stuff was played in the game. I think Aronian was white against somebody. Don't remember whom exactly, but it's lines where you sort of end up with a very complicated position that is still equal. So super interesting to see. I think they were both well prepared. And then we have an interesting moment later on when Gukesh apparently he steps out of Ding's preparation. So yeah, what happens here is basically all pretty forced. Ding pounces on Gukesh's weaknesses on the queen side, wins a pawn, but then his development is so bad that he has to give the pawns back. But some of the positional trumps that he has on the queen side, they sort of they remain even though he's given away his whole king side, and we get this very um, interesting moment when Gukesh plays his queen to f5 a few moves later after a few forced moves that are still, I guess, in both people's preparation. So here, Ding started to think for a long time, and I saw that the engine's top line instead of Queen f5 was Rook b to d8, which is a much more logical move. Um, I'm guessing that Ding was well prepared there, and he had sort of some, I guess, mini try there to keep the game going, even though it's objectively equal. And so, but I'm happy that Gukesh played Queen f5 because it gets a very interesting fight really with huge pawn majorities for both on either side.
Yeah. Gukesh was playing for a win today, wasn't he? He was playing some ambitious moves there, Levy.
Yeah, one more small detail. If we back up to the moment that Gukesh played Bishop e6, yeah, it's pretty fascinating to me that 17 moves, even in the London system, is like relatively normal for opening preparation. This supports, Magnus's endeavors with freestyle a little bit because this is quite fascinating. Like the whole line has been played already. Yes, there was Aronian versus Dominguez, and then there were other games like in the U.S. Championship between Sevion and Wesley So in 2021. So, like all of this has been explored a lot, and even people on socials were saying, oh, Gukesh forgot his prep. It was like maybe Queen f3 instead of Bishop e6, but it kind of became the same thing. And then you ultimately get this pretty imbalanced endgame. I don't know, you can kind of call it an endgame because all the knights and bishops have been traded, or heavy piece endgame. Yeah, I would say, look, I wouldn't say Gukesh is playing for a win just yet. I think he's just playing chess. But I guess the better question is White happy with the result of the opening, and is White supposed to now play this for a win, Magnus?
No, you made a great point earlier, Levy, that the London system used to be exactly that, a system. You develop your pieces in a certain way. You set up this very, very solid pawn formation in the center, and you just want to make the first 7, 8 moves of the game without thinking really and get a safe position. That used to be the London system. I think Kramnik is the one who sort of changed that whole perception. He started playing the London very seriously in 2015. And I've told this story before, but I played a bunch of training games with Kramnik in 2015 before the World Rapid and Blitz Championship. And he was playing the London a lot there as White. And at first I didn't take it seriously, but then I realized that he had ideas there everywhere. And somehow, like, I couldn't equalize. I was just worse in most of the games. And that led me to take it up with the White pieces myself. Of course, the way it happens is that even the London eventually became very very much analyzed because people, yeah, they need something to play, and that is one area which was relatively unexplored, and it seemed that you could even like fight for an advantage in a lot of lines which you never really thought about before with the London system. And to answer the question, is White happy with the outcome of the opening? Uh, well, I think he's not unhappy. He feels like he's changed, like Ding has exchanged a bunch of pieces, and he feels like his position is safe. And I think their conclusion was that, well, this position is all that we have really. we don't think that Black goes for this very solid line of the London that you can really gain more than this. So I think that was the thought process, and evidently Gukesh wasn't quite well, which is not shocking since he has to prepare for a lot of things and remember all of them. But yeah.
And it seemed like Ding was in his preparation until, I don't know, like move 20. He played so fast in the opening. And if it's okay, I want to jump to move 26, where there was the option of doing move repetition and going into quite an early draw. And Gukesh makes the decision to say no to that. What was your reaction when you saw that? He moved his queen to a different square.
Actually, just yeah, before we go here,
I feel like I always keep like jumping too fast.
No, it's fine. But look, I don't have any access to Ding. I once offered to interview him in Chinese because my wife is fluent. But so I will ask Magnus because I can't ask Ding. Magnus, why did Ding spend 45 minutes to take the pawn on c6? Like, what was he thinking about? And on the next two moves, he spent another 8. So he spent an hour, but basically just wanted to make the repetition. Can you shine any light on this? Like, I understand there are more choices in the position, but I just when a top player thinks for nearly an hour, like I just wonder what goes through your minds.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, first of all, he knows that Queen f5 is not the top engine move. So that makes you think, well, is there something wrong with this move? And evidently there is not like a lot wrong with this move. Like you can quickly see that White has nothing very concrete. And then I think some time was probably spent fighting with himself because he saw that he had, after this, he had a route to repetition. And he was thinking, well, I'm quite happy with the draw, but I feel like I should be slightly better, but can I see a safe way to play for a win? Oh, maybe not. And then you sit there thinking, and all of a sudden 40 minutes has passed. Like these things, these things happen.
Yeah, that was a long thing for Ding, and it seemed his ambition after this was to go for the repetition and have the draw right. So what happened to Gukesh? Can I now jump to move 26?
Yes.
Thank you. What was your reaction? You guys have been asking for this. You want the players to show ambition, to fight, to go for the win. And isn't that what Gukesh is doing when he moves his queen to the H line?
But this is what you want, right? As Ding, like you put psychological pressure on Gukesh, you sort of force him to make an inferior move in order to play for win. But of course, there's nothing objectively that should suggest that Gukesh should win this. So Ding has the more active queen. He has possession over the only open file on the board. He has a pass pawn, which Gukesh doesn't have. So there are definitely reasons why he should be slightly better. Maybe Ding's king is a little less safe, and this is what Gukesh was banking on. But generally, more factors are speaking in favor of White here than Black. But on the other hand, Gukesh probably felt that a position with only major pieces on the board, they generally tend to favor those who calculate well, because there are often like mutual attacks, and king safety is quite important. So I mean, I'm sure there were factors for him that led him to play for a win. And you know, I cannot say that it's a bad decision. I think it's probably not quite like a plus EV decision, but probably not a very bad one either.
If I may just ask a follow-up here, what percent of Queen H4 is playing the position and what percent is playing the man?
That's very hard to say, Levy, because Gukesh is a very, very optimistic player in general. So I think he explained after the game that he didn't think he was worse, that he'd always have counterplay to make a draw. And maybe that assessment is partly based on the fact that Ding usually doesn't play for a win. So I mean, I think it's, I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but I think it's definitely quite a bit of both.
Okay, so Levy, after today's game, would you give Gukesh sort of a high five and say, good try, good fight? Or you still not?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say he played a bad game. I'm like, look, first of all, I don't think he'd hire me as a coach, but let's just say he did, and let's say in another universe, I have some fewer subscribers and a 2,700 career. No, I mean, I would say it was a decent game, but I would repeat, like, literally the feedback is the same as yesterday. I would say don't get into a fight just because your opponent is refusing to give you one. He has shown time and time again that against the Ding surprises with the white pieces, whether it's a London, a little Italian trick, trick is a not the right word, but a little wrinkle in the Italian, or whether it's Nimso, Larson, ready fusion. He's fine. He just plays solid chess and he has good chances. But I think he's got to take a better chance with white, and so we would use the rest day to go eat some food at the Singaporean food courts, and then we would prepare something with the white pieces. And I probably would not play e4 again for now.
Okay, so that's the tip from Levy Rosman. Do you guys want to say more about this game? Should we play it out? Like,
Yeah. Let's talk a bit more. So there were definitely interesting moments, but let's jump to the point where Gukesh offered an exchange of queens, and Ding. Well, not too surprisingly, since he had offered about 19 exchanges before that, he he did accept that invitation. Yeah, so this very moment. Um, so here, King C2 it is by all measures a mistake. So I think there were a couple of factors here. First of all, so I mean the best move is evidently into G5, which I think probably would have given Ding as good a chance of winning objectively as he had yesterday. Um, After that move, the black queen is a little bit ineffective out of play. The white queen is actually doing really well there. And he has ideas of invading with the rook to d7 later on, and if the white queen is kicked, he can move around to c5, and then d4 later on, taking on a decentralized square. I think there were a couple of reasons why Ding wouldn't play it. I think first of all, I think he may have underestimated Gukesh's pawn storm in the end game, probably thinking that his pawns are already sort of past. Like you can see that he has a 3 against 1 on the queen side, and it feels like maybe they should be easier to push than Gukesh's 4 against 2 on the king side, which really is not that movable since his passed pawn then is quite easily blocked, and it's hard to create another. So you could like it's easier to see scenarios where it's 2 connected pass pawns than that black gets in. Also, the move queen to g5 is like a little bit of an invisible move. Since you move the queen a little bit away from the center, and it's only one square, it can be maybe a little bit hard to consider. So I think that must factor in, because once you sort of start thinking about the move, it is not hard to at least for players of this caliber to see that white is just better. So this was definitely an interesting moment. If you don't mind, I'd like to jump to the next interesting moment.
Yes, please.
Um, yeah, unless you have something to add there, Levy.
No, I was simply going to state about this moment, Queen G5, and sort of summarize what you had said. It did feel like the way to win the game was inherently taking on a little bit more risk because you have to push the pawns in front of your king. I mean, if and for anybody watching at home, if you really try to dig into this position with the computer, which is not so simple to do because the players don't have it, yeah, you've got to push c4, b4, slowly walk the king up. Uh, it, it's a lot easier to watch at home and see queen g5 is given an advantage by the computer and go, well, why didn't Ding play queen g5? I would argue the position he had yesterday was a much more manageable advantage to sort of push for into a win. What I can't figure out, even in the absence of queen g5, Magnus, is I still don't understand the match strategy. Like, at a certain point, if he's down a game and this was game 14, he has to play queen g5. So I'm just wondering, how many more moments of these are we going to get in this match where he can play on? And it does seem that throughout the match, it's been, will Ding play on? But he doesn't. And I'm lost. I don't know where the strategy is. I said at the end of my recap today, if he wins this match, I will shut up. I will have absolutely no doubts anymore. He knows what he's doing. But I'm just very confused. So with that, I pass it back to you, either for a response or the next important moment.
No, but the thing about it as well is that if you want to allow the queen exchange, then I think c4 is a much more natural move than king to c2 because it's not obvious that the king wants to go this way. It might want to go to d1 and e2 to block the pass pawn that black will inevitably get. So it was definitely a bit strange. Um, And but I will just reiterate that unless you guys will want to correct me and said it didn't talked about this moment, I think you probably like just didn't really see the move Queen G5. I think that is the most logical explanation. That you think about Queen H6, but then you're like, well, the queen is out of play there. I don't want to do that. And then Queen G5 is just slightly invisible. At least that's what it feels to me. But yeah, let's jump a couple of moves ahead. King c2 happens, trade of queens, and f5. This is excellent from Gukesh. And now he's threatening the move g5, creating some very dangerous pawns. And so what I talked about earlier is that white the white pawns have sort of less in front of them, but they're not far advanced at all. So that's why he has to spend time on defense now. And so he goes for h4, which is very logical. And so Levy, you said that the time has come to, say more outrageous things than we have before, to get clicks and such. And I will at this moment. I think if Gukesh had played the move King G7 at this point, I think he would have won the game.
Ooh.
Um, and the thing is that there are very serious pitfalls for white after that move. For instance, if you go rook to d7, going after the pawn on a7, then the black king simply advances. You push the e pawn, your passed pawn, and white is. I'm not sure white is lost, but he's almost lost there already. It's incredibly dangerous, and the black pawns are much faster than white's pawns. Like white will have three pass pawns, but they don't really matter that much as long as they kind of move so quickly. There were still ways for Ding to hold the balance after that move, but I think it would have been hard for him. It is also like I think it would have been kind of a typical Gukesh move, just going forward, playing very confidently, even if he gives up pawns. So that was, I think, not. I wouldn't say it's a real chance, but I think that would have put a lot of pressure, pressure on Ding because you don't want to face a move like that. Just giving up pawns, playing actively, it's quite unpleasant psychologically, especially since Ding, his one concern after the opening has been safety. Like it's been trying to not to lose most of all, and yeah, I think this would have been very dangerous.
But what he did instead, Gukesh, was move his most forward pawn. We actually had an emoji. Yeah, you can see it there. We had an emoji in the take app today. I don't. What is that emoji? You're like a little bit shocked that you're being moved. Were you shocked when you saw this move, Levy?
I no, yes. I mean, it's a shock if you're bad with diagonal pawn captures, I suppose. But I think also if you allow the pawn to promote, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I did also wonder because it felt like Magnus, like Gukesh, kept trying to keep the game going, and then here I guess he decided he's not going to do that. He can maybe still go for this King G7 plan, but now the pawn is obviously a target. So overall, yeah, a bit. He was also in time trouble, I guess. He had like 5 minutes here, maybe to make 5 moves. So he decided enough was enough.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, E3 is kind of an anti-positional move, really. It just looks a bit weird. So, um, yeah, I mean, he had a plan to follow it up with 7 and Rook E8, and then I guess the plan was to bring the king along. So it wasn't a bad move, but it just looks a bit strange.
Okay. A little bit of a strange move. He did make it, of course, to move 41 where he got his extra time, but it was a little bit dramatic on the clocks, reaching move 41. So how about at this point, is it now clear that this is going to be a draw?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to use my reference, guys, that I've been using throughout this match. Like, do I take a nap or not? So I did not make the rookie mistake as I made last time, Magnus. Here, I napped for 10 minutes because I knew we were going to get Rook F5, Rook D7, and then Rook G2 would be the repetition. So I was very strategic, and I did not, I don't know if you can still play this one for a win with either color, frankly, but I would say black would try harder than white.
Would you have pushed for a win, Magnus?
No, well, it's important to note that the move Rook E5, which otherwise would be a serious possibility, is not possible because you would trade the rooks and then you would trade into a pawn game and queen the H pawn. So yeah, it does seem like this position, which really is anything but balanced, is actually in strategic balance. The white's pawns are sort of they're they're stronger, but black's pawns are, even though they're scattered, they're more advanced. And again, if Gukesh could get the king into the game, even at the cost of a pawn, it's dangerous for Ding. So I think we were at the point here where both players were pretty happy with the draw, and I wouldn't say they manufactured a repetition because it is very very logical. But I think once they saw it, they were like, well, this is good. Like we both played a very decent game. Like obviously there were some moments where they could have done things differently, but overall, we played well. Ding has survived another tense battle. Gukesh has survived another black game, so they're like, yeah, we're both pretty happy. So I think, yeah, the same as you, Levy. Once I saw this repetition was possible, there was very little doubt that they'd find it and go for it.
Yeah. Well, after a few more moves there, it was eventually a draw in the game 6. Historically, that is a dramatic game. Today's game 6 ended with a draw. They are still tied, Gukesh and Ding, with 3 points each. Best out of 14 games becomes the world champion. And when they headed from that game, as always, they had to go to the press conference. And I know it's sometimes easy to be critical of some questions that is being asked at these press conferences. But I want to show you guys a question from today that had both of the players smiling. Take a look at this.
I've seen a lot of Ding chilling memes, and so my question for Ding is if you have seen any of them and what do you think about them?
Say, what is the thing that you've seen? You said.
It just says Ding chilling, which is like comes from a meme from a Chinese ice cream promotion, and it's like adjusted to Ding Liren now, and it just shows that he's like chilling and just like playing good chess. So yeah.
Have you seen this?
What's the meaning of chill?
Well, to chill means to relax.
Or relax after the first game, or the end of the first game when I have a totally winning
But
position.
she's saying there's a meme out saying that you're chilling, meaning you're kind of just cool, relaxing, and also there's an ice cream connection. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. I certainly haven't.
I didn't have ice cream here.
Well, it had me laugh. No ice cream for Ding so far. Levy, your wife is Chinese. What is this China reference? Some ice cream meme chilling thing? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, we don't have to point to the fact that my wife is Chinese to understand the Ding chilling meme. I feel like that's a bit of a, yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, there's a famous John Cena clip where he's talking about having ice cream, and he goes, "中国现在我有冰淇淋," and then that says, "I have an ice cream, and I really love my ice cream. I've been practicing my Mandarin." So Bing Chiling, they translate it into Ding because it's a different sound by one letter. And it's a pretty good meme. It would be a good meme, but I don't know how much social media Ding uses. Like if Ding played into it and was, winning, whether it's this match or the previous match and sort of playing into the whole thing, it would be pretty cool. But I feel it was introed in a bit of a slow way. And for some reason, I don't know if they have like a translator on site in Singapore. They could have made it much more clear, but they left the poor guy to just be like, yo, there's a meme about you. And he was like, what? And that was, Maurice tried his best. Gukesh was dying. I'm not sure if Gukesh knows it. Yeah, I mean, those were my thoughts. It was, poor guy was just sort of, and by the way, he was asked in a follow-up, Kaya, when he left.
Yeah.
Mike Klein then asked him, like, what ice cream do you like? And has Richard Report gotten you ice cream? So, yeah, I don't know. I'll leave Magnus to make some more profound insights.
What's your reaction to it, Magnus?
Yeah, first of all, I don't think there should have been a follow-up necessarily on follow-up question on that one. Well, I've seen the Ding chilling meme. I just didn't know what it was about. I thought it was just Ding and his chill dude and all that. So that was kind of fun to see. But yeah, I do hope he gets to have ice cream regardless of the outcome of the match.
100%, 100%. And it comes from sort of seeing footage of Ding in the resting area where it's only like this, looks like a not too comfortable chair, and he's eating nuts, and he's basically just sitting there for quite a long time. And Magnus, can I ask you, from all your World Championship matches, what's the best and what's the worst sort of resting rooms that you have had? Have they always been okay, or have you been like, this is not good enough? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, at some point they started filming the sort of the lounge room for the players, and I was very much opposed to that. I thought that, the arbiter has his camera. Like of course the arbiters should see what we're doing in our rest area, but I had no desire for the public to see that. And the first time, I think I didn't know that. So I mean, I understand why it has interest, but I still feel like it would be better if those areas were private for the players. And yeah, I think everybody has their own way sort of dealing with that in between moves and so on. And he does look pretty chill, but I think um, I would have wanted him to have that privacy rather than it being shown everywhere.
Like I've said, yeah, chess is it's a tough spectator sport, you guys. When a player thinks for 15 minutes, we got to follow them with a camera into the break room and see how many walnuts he's consumed. And today it's a banana and a brownie bite. And, the poor guy is just like sitting, relaxing, and we're putting it on socials. This is why Magnus advocates for fast classical, because the game will be exciting throughout and we don't have to cut to them walking to the toilet or, eating nuts. So, but
They're
yeah,
always sitting across from each other, right?
yeah.
And I can tell you, like, I come from outside the chess world. That is amazing spectator sports television, if you like. Two players just sitting across from each other, intensely, like, calculating, thinking, being nervous. Like, even from my point of view, not understanding what's happening on the board. That is amazing to follow. So maybe the players should be forced to sit by the board for as much as possible. Or would that be too harsh?
Let's remember the take motto, the drama, the intensity. I don't remember the rest of it, but there's no drama when I watch the food clips, But no, I don't think you can ethically allow them to sit at the board, force them rather to sit at the board for 7 hours. But yeah, but it's beating a dead horse, kind of like 6 to 7 hour chess, which hasn't happened at this match, but on average it's hard. It's hard for spectators. It's hard for players. They have to take their breaks. But then how do we keep it exciting? We need to put a camera in the room so we get to see them like there for some reason. It's tough. But I'm optimistic. I'm hoping we can all figure it out collectively, and people at home will enjoy. Otherwise, these recaps are like the most exciting part of the game, and that's not good. Like visually as a spectator.
I agree. All right, you guys, let's move forwards. Magnus, I heard rumors that you are now with Peter Heine, that you're having some sort of a training camp, or just hanging out.
Yeah, we're a small training camp. So I got some serious tournaments coming up in December, so I gotta be ready for them.
And what is his take on what's happening in Singapore on the match? Is he with you? Could we ask him?
Well, he actually, I think he probably went to sleep now, but we've talked a lot about the games, and I'm sure he would be happy to share some insights on the day.
Awesome. I look forward to that. So finally, you guys, can we quickly name an MVP and a piece of beep from today's game?
Yeah, I'm gonna give the MVP to the Black Queen, just for trying her best.
Yeah, I think it is a participation trophy more than anything else, but I think White's Queen did a lot of work as well, but then when it had the chance to finally escape trade forever, then it went away. So I agree with that choice.
Good job to the Black Queen. How about the piece of beep then?
Let Magnus take this one.
No, I think that, yeah, this is an easy choice. So Ding had a passed pawn, which means a pawn that has no opposing pawn in front of him, for I think about 20 moves. And I think maybe for 10 of those moves, pushing that pawn, as Bobby Fischer said, that passed pawns must be pushed. I think for about 10 of those moves, that was a good move. And he never pushed it. So I think that is definitely something he should have done. And that pawn just didn't do his job and then gets the dishonor of being the piece of.
Good job. Yep. All right. Thanks, you guys. And there's a rest day tomorrow. Game 7 will be played on Tuesday. Gukesh will have the white pieces. Will we see a winner in that game?
Should we try and hype it up? No, I think it. Look, every game that Gukesh plays as white is going to be a fight. There is no doubt about that. I think for now, Ding's openings are working quite well. I'm very interested to see what he's going to try. I think Gukesh is going to try E4 again, and I feel like we've come far enough that Ding probably will play the French, and yeah, then we're gonna have, I think, a very exciting opening and probably a very exciting game. So
I'd like to throw this out. I'd like to throw this out there, Magnus. I'm curious to hear your thoughts because I don't know if we were going to do predictions next.
Yes.
I am ready to start saying some controversial stuff, and this is what I'm going to say. If Ding shows absolutely no problems in the next black game, the 7th game of the match, and whether he pushes or not, and they make another draw, I'm ready to start giving him like 5 percentage points of the advantage of the match and chance as this gets closer and closer to Rapid and Blitz, or really Rapid is a major chunk. Obviously he's in, you said Gukesh is the better player right now, and maybe form-wise and everything, but I feel like in a Rapid tiebreaker, I'm giving more chances to Ding. I don't know how you feel about that. That's my controversial statement of the day. Every day that goes on past game 7, it's going to get 5 percentage points more for Ding.
Wow.
I was thinking, well, this is very uncontroversial, but I was thinking along the same lines. I think we're almost down to a 60-40 match at this point, or probably we're already there. As you said, the game is big. If Gukesh cannot put serious pressure with white in the French defense, then it's gonna be hard. So yeah, we'll see, of course, but
So you're saying Ding is a favorite to defend his title now?
No. I'm
Opposite.
thinking 60-40 and 60-40 in Gukesh's favor, but the odds are getting better and better for Ding, and yeah, if he doesn't lose the next game, then we're closing in on a very, very even match. So for all the talk about not taking chances, like we're getting what we really wanted, which is a match that is extremely interesting from a sporting perspective.
100%. I like that. All right, everyone. That was today's post-game show. Make sure to download Take to get notified when the action returns for Game 7 on Tuesday. As always, a big thank you to our pundits, Magnus Carlsen and Levy Rosman. Tomorrow is a rest day. Ding and everyone else can have an ice cream and take a chill. Thanks for watching.
We have 2 players and we have no idea what to expect from.
He has the spark which we see in champions.
They've been waiting for this moment for so long.
From the time when I was a little kid.
I haven't lost with him in classical.